I am making my sausage, peppers, and onion deep dish pizza. To get started on the dough, I'm gonna get 4 cups of all-purpose flour and then a tablespoon of sugar. Well, just to add a hint of sweetness, I'm using 2 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast. I love using instant yeast because I don't need to proof it. And then 1 1/2 teaspoons of kosher salt. I'll whisk this up to combine. Easy peasy. I'll grab my wet ingredients. I've got 1.5 cups of water and 1/4 cup of corn oil, which helps the crust get crisp, and it also adds this delightful, subtle corn chip flavor. I'll pour this in, and then I'll get it on my mixer and just mix until it comes together. I'm gonna knead this now for 7 to 10 minutes until it's smooth and still slightly sticky. Okay, this looks beautiful. It smells yeasty. Then I'll grab a clean bowl. I'll add a little bit of oil so that it doesn't stick. Okay, I'll gather it into a ball, and I'm gonna place it seam side up first into my bowl, and then turn it back over so that it's completely covered in the oil. I don't want it to dry out. I'll cover it with a towel and then let this rise at room temp for 1 to 2 hours until it's doubled in size. I'm gonna divide it into my 2 pizza pans now, one for me and one for Nick. And these are coated in loads of butter, which adds delicious buttery flavor. I'll divide this into 2 even pieces, and I'm gonna stretch them into balls. This will help me pat it out evenly. And I'm gonna let these rest for a little bit longer, and that's gonna make it easier for me to pat it out in the pans. A tiny nap while I prep my toppings. My toppings are prepped and my dough is all rested, and now I'm ready to assemble. I'm gonna start by pressing the dough out. I'll rotate my cake pan as I go to make sure that it's pressed evenly all over the bottom. And then I'm gonna pinch the sides so that the dough comes all the way up. The butter that's lining the cake pan kind of helps the sides of the dough stay up. My dough is patted out. First comes the cheese, which is unique to Chicago-style pizza. And that's because it acts as a barrier so that the sauce doesn't make the pizza soggy. And this is sliced mozzarella cheese. And next comes the sausage. I'm using pork sausage that I rolled into balls. So I'm distributing it evenly all over the cheese, and then I'm pressing it out. Then I'll top with San Marzano tomatoes that I've salted and drained. When we have deep dish pizza, it is a special event. It's so big that we can really only handle it like once a month. I carry the deep dish pizza excitement in the family, but Nick and Bernie hop along for the ride. I'll distribute these all over the sausage, all the way to the edge. Next, the quintessential pizza vegetable, green peppers, and some chopped onions for little bits of sweetness. I'll sprinkle with a snowstorm of pecorino. Oh, it smells so good. And a little pinch of oregano. And that is a beautiful pizza. I'm gonna assemble the second one, and then it'll be ready for the oven. These are prettier than the Chicago skyline. I'm gonna stick them in the oven at 500 degrees for 30 to 40 minutes until the crust is golden and the cheese is bubbly around the edges. It smells like a pizza parlor in here. Yes, they look perfect. I love seeing that some of the cheese has bubbled up and gotten browned. Okay. I'm gonna finish with a pinch of crushed red pepper because I need a little heat. Talk about deeply delicious. Do you want a big slice or a really big slice?
Give me the biggest slice you have ever
okay,
sliced. This is the best Chicago pizza I've probably ever had.
I'm making my easy chili cheese French bread pizza. So simple. I've got the same bread. I've hollowed it out a little bit though, so I can put that chili in there and just put this bread to the side. You can make breadcrumbs. You can also put it on a sheet and toast it if you've got like a cheese sauce at your big game party. It's fun for a dip for your guests. All right, so this is just store-bought garlic butter. Be generous, you know, sometimes I'll even kind of go in and just like pour it down the center and then spread it around. I'm gonna get this into the oven to toast it. You could do 400, 450. You're just going for the edges to get lightly golden brown, and then you're gonna bring it back out and top it. Get this in here. Should only take about, 10 minutes for it to get like this. Then on the inside, I'm gonna add my 5-ingredient chili. So the 5 ingredients are so simple. It's just some ground beef, a can of tomatoes and green chilies, a can of black beans, an onion, and chili powder. All right, so I'm gonna get this into the hollows here. Just scoop this in here and get it along the length. I used to be team no beans in my chili until I put some black beans in. We've got kidney beans here. If you want to lean the beans out, you're more than welcome. And this recipe is actually so simple. All those ingredients, just add them. Makes a very quick and simple chili for your guests. Just 5 ingredients. We've got that recipe on the Food Network Kitchen app, and I'm even demoing it live for you so you can see how to put it together. But I mean, come on, it's so simple. All right, over the top of this chili, gonna add a blend of cheese, just cheddar and Monterey Jack. You can use cheddar and pepper jack, but I'm bringing a little bit of fire with jalapenos in the end. And what I really like about the jalapenos is they kind of show you a serving size. It makes it easy for people to slice up and portion on their own. So mounds and mounds of cheese. Now, over the top of that, just, you know, think about the serving size and put a jalapeno freshly sliced along the length as well. And then you can imagine when this comes out, people are gonna cut between the jalapenos. Everyone gets a nice little jalapeno bite. And it also adds some curb appeal. And just keep on going down along the length. Now, this isn't done. When I bring it out of the oven, there's more toppings. As GZ and I were called, wow, GZ, the accoutrement, what is going on? Please, right. Okay, I'm gonna get this into the oven for about 15, 20 minutes at 400 degrees. All right, over here, putting a little bit of scallions over the top, making it rain scallions.
Rain, make it rain. You can't have enough basil or cheese as far as I'm concerned.
Cilantro over the top to kind of match your basil love. Oh. Then a nice drizzle of crema. If you can't find crema, it's just a looser version of sour cream. Just get in there and add a little bit of milk to your sour cream, or even water. Sometimes I'll do some lime juice to loosen it up.
Just sounds better, crema, right?
It does. Just get that on there. And then a nice shake of hot sauce. You ready to put this down, GZ?
This is a lot of work here.
All right.
Beep, beep, beep.
I mean, come on.
Oh. Hook me up with the chili and the cheese and the chili and the cheese.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, GZ. Of course he would cut his in half. I'm gonna cut mine just like you.
That is delicious. The crunch.
Oh.
Mmm. Sorry.
GZ. Touchdown!
I am making my cheesesteak skillet pizza.
I'm in.
All right? All right, so you're gonna help me out. I've got an iron skillet here, and I want you to put a little oil in that and then stretch out the pizza dough.
Oh, great.
You can buy your pizza dough, go right to the pizza place you like and ask to buy their dough. You can get it in the freezer department, just let it thaw and rest at room temperature. And I'm gonna get us started with our peppers and onions.
Don't forget that pop tuba pizza dough, too.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can
yeah,
use that.
I think that that's great, yeah.
Pizza dough has gotten so much better, the premium pizza dough, right?
It's great. All right, so I'm gonna get my peppers going on there, too.
It's so hot. That's a grill.
Really nice and hot. And I'm gonna get my steak going on it. So I'm using the package, you can get this in the butcher department, of the thinly sliced steak. Or if you want to be fancy, like if you're Jeezy, you could pick up a really nice ribeye steak and hand it to the butcher and say, shave this for me.
That's right. I'm fancy sometimes too.
Yeah.
I think it's made with a ribeye, isn't it? Traditionally, Jeff?
Traditionally, I think that ribeye might be in quotes at some of the more fast food joints, you know, for your, you know.
It is an expensive cut.
But it's definitely shaved.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
So nice and thin.
I agree.
And these packages usually come in 1 pound. We're only going to use a ½ pound. You can, because we're just putting it on the pizza. There won't be enough space for it. But you can easily go ahead and cook up the whole thing at the same time if you want, so that, you know, you can use it later for a sandwich.
It's so fast. It's almost done.
It goes so fast. Yeah, look at that. And I'm also gonna add a little garlic to my peppers and onions.
It's like a campfire cookout right here.
You guys, I used to spend Thanksgiving eating cheesesteaks in Philadelphia.
Really?
I remember you doing that.
I would take the train down, I'd get my cheesesteak, go back to the hotel, and watch their Thanksgiving Day parade down there.
I gotta tell you,
much fun.
Atlantic City has some good cheesesteaks too.
I love
a bad rap.
cheesesteak. Now, when I was a kid, my mom and I, when we'd go shopping at the mall, there was a cheesesteak place at the mall, and I always wanted to get a cheesesteak sandwich. That was my big treat. So, and I love pizza, so I thought, why not combine the two? All right, so season it up, salt and pepper.
It needs it too,
Yeah, you gotta be generous there. And the great thing is that you don't have to cook this completely, because it is gonna cook again in the oven. So I figured I'd try to go in here like they would do at the mall. Remember? All right, so this is looking good. Jeff, how's that going?
It's good. You know, sometimes a great tip for home, too. If your pizza dough is like, you know, pulling back in, just let it be for a minute. It needs to relax a little more rather than tearing it open and creating those little holes and pockets. But, so whatever you're in, you know, and remember, whenever you're doing a cast iron skillet pizza, too much oil, it's gonna totally shrink up even quicker because it's slick under there. So you maybe wanna put the oil in after you stretch it out. Yeah, this is perfect, it's good to go.
That looks great. And it's gonna get nice and crispy on the bottom of this.
It's like it fries up in there in that oil.
All right, so I'm gonna top it with our peppers and onions.
Whoa.
Yum.
This is gonna be a new thing.
Yeah, it's a thing, right?
It's a thing.
It's a thing?
It's a thing.
And if you feel like that it's getting, you know, more peppers and onions that you want, just save it, because you got all that extra leftover beef. Make it like a little taco action. All right, now I'm gonna chop it with the beef. Get all that on there.
So this
Everybody
is a sauceless pizza.
Loving this. Yeah, it's a sauceless pizza.
Wow.
You could serve it with a dipping sauce if you liked. You know, you could put some melted cheese as a dipping. It'd be great with a ranch dipping or a marinara dipping.
Or just at the end, after you pull it out of the oven, just drizzle that cheese sauce, that orange cheese sauce all over right from the jar.
All right, I'm going with mozzarella cheese and provolone cheese.
From the jar.
I love the provolone.
Provolone has that smell you have to.
Yep. Now, if you want to do this and only dirty one dish, you can cook your steak and your peppers in this iron skillet and then wipe it out and do it. Okay, so, ooh, this is heavy. You're gonna go into the oven, 450 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. And I've got one in here.
I didn't see it, I didn't peek.
Already done. Here we go.
Oh, the smell of cooked green bell peppers is
it's
so
wondrous.
distinct.
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
Looking good, right? Yummy?
Done.
Okay, so let's get it out of here.
Oh, this is gonna be trouble for me, I know.
Hey.
See how nice and crispy it is?
Oh, right out of there.
That is perfect.
Pizza-nista.
Yep. And let's get right in here. This is gonna be a thicker crust pizza, which I like because it makes me think more of a cheesesteak, having that nice bread action going on.
I bet when you were taking your pizza class in Italy, they had no idea you were gonna mash it up and make a...
I don't think anybody in Italy's having a cheesesteak pizza.
I don't think so.
Here we go.
Oh, that is beautiful.
And then I like to serve it with either pickled banana peppers or pickled cherry peppers.
Yay!
In there. Jeff, you want to get in here
Oh, I'm
too?
gonna go in here. Look at this. Oh. Can I have a pepper?
Yeah, put some pepper on it. Don't burn your mouth, Cheesy. We don't want to hurt that iron chef palate.
Cheesy, don't burn yourself.
Ooh, that's good.
Katie Lee, some mashups just don't work. They just don't, let's be honest, right?
That's true, sometimes.
This, you close your eyes,
Oh,
you're
so
like,
good.
cheesesteak, you open your eyes, you're like, what? Pizza? But it's balanced, and that hot pepper is hot, and you need it because this is so rich and delectable. I love it!
We're gonna make 2 different pizzas. A savory pizza, a very, very simple one, some fresh tomatoes, fresh mozzarella, fresh basil, you know, the Margherita pizza. And then I'm gonna make a dessert pizza with some plums, blackberries, and some raspberries, some mascarpone cheese, and a little bit of honey. You know, when my daughter was like 4 years old, I used to make her grilled pizzas outside, and she'd always say to me, Dad, I want real pizza. I think that people think, wait a minute, pizza dough on a grill? Like, what's that all about? But it actually works, and it's really easy. So I went to my favorite pizza parlor. I gave the guy a couple of bucks, and he gave me a few balls of his perfect pizza dough. So we're gonna start by actually cooking off the dough first. It's kind of interesting. So we're just gonna take a little bit of canola oil, and we're gonna just brush the pizza dough. I'm gonna use my gas grill for this. You can use a charcoal grill, of course, but the gas grill I know is always gonna have nice, even heat for the pizza dough. It's actually a good idea. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our peel, we call this a peel. I'm just gonna put the dough right on top. And my pizza doughs come out all kinds of different shapes. Makes it look homemade. All right, let's go to the grill. We want our grill pretty hot, okay? So we're just gonna go right on the grill, just like that. Okay, you can see the pizza dough starting to bubble up like that. Basically, you just want to turn this one time. You want to make sure that the dough gets nice and crispy on one side, give it one turn, and it's ready to go. You see how quickly it cooks? I mean, literally 45 to 60 seconds on each side, and then you have a cooked pizza dough. It depends how much you roll it out. I like my pizzas to be thin as opposed to thick. But even if you roll it out really thinly, it's still going to rise just a tiny bit, and that's good. That's where you get that nice sort of chew in the middle. All right, that's good. Okay, now we can make our pizzas. So I'm just going to put a little touch of olive oil on top, and then some fresh mozzarella cheese, some tomatoes, salt and pepper. Now, if we don't want the pizza, the crust itself, to keep cooking underneath, what we're going to do is we can actually put it on a sheet pan and then let the cheese and the tomatoes heat up. Okay. While that's cooking, we can actually finish our dessert one. You know, what do you serve for dessert outside? A grilled pizza is a really cool idea. So I'm going to take some mascarpone cheese, which is an Italian-style cream cheese, one of my favorite ingredients. We're just going to slather this right on top of the pizza. And then we're going to take some grilled plums, or you could use peaches. Any kind of stone fruit will work really well. And then some berries. I love blackberries, one of my favorite ingredients in the whole world. And we're going to put some raspberries in there as well. Great for some color. And maybe just a tiny bit of honey. All right, I'm just going to let this heat up just a tiny bit more. Another 3 minutes, we should be good to go. One sweet and one savory, and I actually like to keep them right on the peel, and I like to serve them on the peel as well. So we're going to take some fresh basil leaves. We're just going to tear the basil leaves and let the basil leaves drop. There's our pizza margherita on the grill. For dessert, mascarpone cheese, some grilled plums, some berries, powdered sugar, a little bit of honey. Mangiare. Good way to end the day. Really terrific.
I am making my pepperoni pizza pastries, which have a melty, cheesy filling and salty pepperoni encased in a buttery, flaky blanket. To get started, I'm gonna make my cheese filling. I've got 3 kinds of cheeses here for different flavors and textures. I'll start with some mozzarella. This will get really melty. A couple of tablespoons of grated Parmesan for saltiness. And some ricotta cheese will bring it all together. I'll add 6 ounces of this. An egg will keep everything together and prevent the cheese filling from leaking out as these bake. And a couple tablespoons of flour will help to bind it. I'm gonna add a green bell pepper. Green bell peppers are just the ideal pizza veggie. So this is a homemade version of the pizza pockets that I would eat almost every day after school for a good few years. I would get home, stick one in the microwave, and then get refueled for homework and figure skating practice. I'll give this a little pizzazz with some dried oregano. And you gotta have crushed red pepper on pizza. Nick really likes this stuff, so I'll add an extra pinch for him. I'll season with salt and pepper. And mix together. My filling is combined. I'm ready for my puff pastry. I've got a sheet pan, a rolling pin, and my puff pastry, which I've thawed in the refrigerator. I'm gonna dust my counter with a little flour so that it doesn't stick. So I'm gonna roll the sheet out to a big rectangle that is 10 by 15 inches. That'll be the perfect size to give me 6 evenly sized squares. So I'm just gently and evenly working it with my rolling pin. Beet harvest is really cool to see. There's a special harvester that pulls the beets out of the ground and then they're lifted up through a conveyor belt contraption and they go right into a truck that's driving at the same speed right next to it. And then once that truck fills up, it peels off and heads on its way to the sugar plant, and then another truck swoops in right behind it, which is all to say that Nick is working hard and he's hungry, so he could probably eat 5 of these. My puff pastry is rolled out to the size that I want it. I'm gonna cut it into squares now, and to do that, I'm gonna use my accordion pastry cutter, which will allow me to get perfectly even cuts, but you could also use a knife. I'm gonna roll 2 rolls of squares. So geometrically satisfying. I'll transfer my squares to my baking sheet, which is lined with parchment paper so that they don't stick. And I'm placing them pretty closely together right now, but once I fold them up, they'll have enough room on all sides to bake evenly. I'm ready to assemble. I've got to grab my red sauce and my pepperoni. You can't make pizza without sauce, and you can't make pizza for Nick without pepperoni. To assemble, I'm gonna add a dollop of cheese filling, kind of towards one corner because I'm gonna be folding this on a diagonal. And then I'm gonna create a well in the cheese filling that's gonna hold the sauce and prevent it from leaking out. And these are little pizza pockets, so I've got my tiny baby pepperonis. I'll sprinkle these all over. Try saying meat sprinkles with a straight face. Meat sprinkles. And I'll seal it up with egg wash. And this is just an egg beaten with a splash of water, and it's gonna help seal these together. I'll fold this right over the toppings and press the edges together. And to really lock the fillings in, I'm gonna crimp the edges with a fork. And I'll finish with some egg wash to make them shiny. How cute. I'll keep on filling these, and then I'm gonna chill them before baking to help them hold their shape. They are gonna be tremendous triangles of pizza perfection. These will bake at 375 for 30 minutes. They are gonna be so good with so many folds of flakiness. These have puffed up perfectly. I can see all the flakes, and I'm smelling the pepperoni coming from within.
I met a group of great new friends at our homeschooling co-op in Bartlesville this year. Now school's out for the summer and we haven't seen each other for a few weeks, so I decided to have them out to the ranch for a girls' dinner. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm making a really summery chicken salad for dinner, and to go with it, a fresh herb pizza. So I'm gonna get started on the dough. I've got 3/4 of a cup of pretty warm water, and I sprinkled in half a teaspoon of yeast, and I'll just let that sit and start to work its magic. And then I'll add 2 cups of flour to the mixer. This is my favorite pizza dough in the entire universe. It is so delicious and so foolproof. Half a teaspoon of kosher salt. And then I'll just put the mixer on low, and I'll drizzle in a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Another fun part of tonight is the girls have never been out to the ranch, so we're really gonna have a fun time. I just love them. They are so much fun. So I'll drizzle in the olive oil, and it'll just slowly mix it into the flour and salt. And by now, the yeast and water mixture should be good, so I'll just drizzle that in and let it mix in slowly. The great thing about this pizza dough is you can make it an hour before you need it, or you can make it 3 days before you need it. It lasts for a really long time in the fridge. Okay, now it doesn't take long at all for it to come together. I'll give it just a little bit longer. Now I'm gonna put the dough into a bowl, so I'll drizzle in a little bit of olive oil, smear it around to coat it. So I'll just put it into the bowl, turn it around so it gets coated in olive oil. All right, the dough is all coated, and I'll just cover it up with plastic wrap. Now it just needs to rise for about an hour or so. Now the dough's been rising, and I'm just gonna roll it out This is a really simple pizza, but it's gonna go perfectly with the chicken salad. Okay, got that all rolled out. Now, I'm gonna drizzle some olive oil onto a baking sheet, and then I'll just pick up the dough. It's pretty stretchy, and that's a good thing, and I'll just plop it right on the sheet. And then I'll drizzle on a little more olive oil. This pizza doesn't have a really heavy sauce like a lot of pizzas do. I'll just smear the olive oil around, and then I'll just sprinkle on a little salt and pepper for flavor. And then, of course, this is pizza, so I have mozzarella cheese, and I'll just slice some thin slices. You can also grate the mozzarella, but I really like the way the slices bake. They sort of spread out and get really bubbly. Okay, I'll lay the slices of cheese on and see where I am. All right, that looks good. Now I'll get the herbs ready that I'm gonna put on the pizza. I have a package of arugula. I love, love, love arugula. It's so mysterious. It's kind of spicy and peppery and lettucey all at once. And then I have some beautiful basil, and I'm just gonna leave the leaves whole, not chop them up like I normally would. And then I have some parsley just for a little extra freshness. Just tear them up so there aren't any big pieces. Okay, I think that should be good. Now I'm gonna put the pizza in the oven when the girls get here, and with that, I'm ready for this girls' night to begin. The pizza looks amazing and it smells amazing. Okay, got a big spatula. I'm just gonna put it right onto the board. I'll just put the greens all over the top. Now I'll cut this up, big old pizza cutter. Okay, now just to finish it off, I'll throw on plenty of grated Parmesan. Okay, beautiful pizza, gorgeous salad. It's time to eat.
I am making an Italian meat and cheese French bread pizza. Oh my gosh. First of all, always extra virgin olive oil.
Okay.
A little, just to get the thing started. You gotta start the engine of the sandwich, right?
A little drizzle.
I think Jeff Mauro would approve of that. Little salt and pepper. This is jarred marinara. You can make your own, but you don't have to. And then, some deli meat. So I have, in honor of Jeff Mauro, some sopressata, which is really a rough grind salami, a lot of spicy. You don't want to lay it flat. You want to try to ribbon as much as possible. I learned that from the Sandwich King. Some regular salami again. I'm just gonna like sort of make it nice and ribbony, right? I'm not gonna lay it flat. You want it to be fluffy. So some smoked mozzarella right on top, just like that. We're gonna come down to the home stretch. We are gonna put that in the oven at 450 for about 10 minutes. Let's finish with the cheese. And I also like to finish with a little bit of Parmesan cheese ground before I put it in. All right, I'm going in 450, about 10 minutes, nice and melty melt, and I'm gonna finish it. In the meantime, Sunny, start your engine.
Yes, so I have that half of French bread that Jeezy had. Let me tell you what I'm about to make for you. I'm making my easy chili cheese French bread pizza. So simple. I've got the same bread. I've hollowed it out a little bit though. So this is just store-bought garlic butter. I'm gonna get this into the oven to toast it. You could do 400, 450. You're just going for the edges to get lightly golden brown, and then you're gonna bring it back out and top it. Get this in here. Should only take about, 10 minutes for it to get like this. Then on the inside, I'm gonna add my 5-ingredient chili. So the 5 ingredients are so simple. It's just some ground beef, a can of tomatoes and green chilies, a can of black beans, an onion, and chili powder. All right, so I'm gonna get this into the hollows here. Just scoop this in here. Gonna add a blend of cheese, just cheddar and Monterey Jack. Over the top of that, just, you know, think about the serving size and put a jalapeno freshly sliced. I'm gonna get this into the oven for about 15, 20 minutes at 400 degrees. Jeezy, what is going on over the top?
All right, get in here real close and look what I've done. You see how nice and crispy and crunchy the cheese has gotten? Oozing all over the place. I'm gonna top this off with some of my favorite things. This is ricotta salata, which is basically a ricotta that's dry and aged. It's gonna crumble right on top of that. And be generous with this stuff. This is not a day to be parsimonious.
His favorite word for me. Look
Some
at
olives. regular black olives, pitted, of course, on top of that. Pickled peppers, some pickled canned peppers, cherry peppers, any of your favorite peppers on that. Giardiniera, if you'd like. A lot of giardiniera. You want to have that nice spice, which is going to really work against all that cheese and meat. And then fresh basil. I just like to tear it up with my hands, put it on top like that. Be very generous with this. You want to have that fresh basil pop in your mouth to go with that nice giardiniera and the pickle, and then an olive, and then gotta be spicy. Some red pepper flakes.
Look who just ran onto my field,
Oh, that looks
GZ.
beautiful.
My entire defensive line, okay?
Some grated pecorino romano, and just to top it off, because you can, and I love to.
That's beautiful.
A little extra virgin olive oil. There you go, look at that.
All right, over here, putting a little bit of scallions over the top, making it rain scallions.
Rain, make it rain. You can't have enough basil or cheese as far as I'm concerned.
Cilantro over the top to kind of match your basil love.
Oh.
Then a nice drizzle of crema. Just get that on there. And then a nice shake of hot sauce. You ready to put this down, GZ?
That is delicious. The crunch. Sorry. We got at least 12 or 15 people fed here. Easy.
Come on, like there's that 20, 25 people, man. This is delicious, GZ.
Have you ever heard of cauliflower pizza crust? Being a food blogger, I see it all the time. I've never actually made one, so I'm gonna whip one up now, and I can't wait for the results. I've got a half a head of cauliflower, and I just cut it into chunks. I'll throw it into the food processor, and I'm gonna let the food processor grind it up. I'm gonna pulse it until it's really fine. My food blogging friend told me to keep going until it looks like snow, and I think I'm about there. Yep, looks like snow, all right. Take the blade out, and I'll get this into a bowl. I'll cover this with some plastic wrap too. Now I've got a fork, and I'll just poke a couple times. Now this goes into the microwave. I'm gonna draw out the moisture and soften it a bit. That's gonna take about 4 minutes. From what I understand, the secret to cauliflower crust is getting all of the moisture out of the cauliflower. So I'll take the plastic wrap off, and I have a thin towel here, and I'll dump the cauliflower right on there, and I'll let it cool for a couple minutes until I can wring out all the moisture. Now I'm gonna fold this up, get it nice and tight in there, and I'll wring all this moisture right into the same bowl that I cooked it in. Gosh, I cannot believe how much water is in the cauliflower naturally. I got all of the moisture squeezed out of the cauliflower, so I'm breaking it up a bit, and I've got a few more things to add to the crust. I'll crack in an egg, some mozzarella. I'll save the rest of this to go on top of the pizza. I'll also add in some grated Parmesan and Italian seasoning, just keeping it simple. A little salt and pepper, of course. Now I'll stir this all together and see what it looks like. I've got some parchment paper on here so the crust won't stick to the pan. I'll start by getting it into a ball. Gosh, it's so easy to work with. Now I'll press it into a crust. One secret I've heard about cauliflower pizza crust is you want to bake it super thin. Now I'll get this into a 425-degree oven for about 15 minutes. It smells so good and it looks amazing. I think I could just break off a piece and eat that right now. I'll put the sauce on the crust. Again, I don't want to add too much moisture, so I'll just put a thin layer. I think that should be enough. Okay, that looks like a good amount. The rest of the mozzarella goes on. Gosh, I cannot imagine how good this pizza is gonna be. I'm gonna put this back into the oven until the cheese is melted. That crust got even more deep golden. Oh, I can't wait to try this. I'm gonna grab some basil. I'm not gonna slice it up, just gonna grab big leaves, and I'll tear big pieces right onto the pizza. Gosh, what a pretty pizza.
So I'm gonna make tonight my crispy tortilla pizza and saving salad, okay? Oh. Pizza and salad. Who doesn't love a good
I love salad.
I love
salad.
Katie, I need you to kind of chop that iceberg, right? Which I think is the...
I love iceberg.
It is like the most underrated vegetable in the vegetable kingdom.
I love iceberg lettuce.
Yeah.
And Katie told me a little tidbit here about...
Everybody
so-
thinks that there's no health value in iceberg lettuce. I had to investigate because I like it so much. It actually has vitamin K.
What is that? No idea.
Which is hard to find, apparently. And it has lecithin, which helps fight cellulite.
I think it's 93% water, from what they say.
I just want the crunch. I love the crunch.
Great with the creamy dressing. So we got some blue cheese dressings, we got some tomatoes, so just throw all that in there. I'll get to that in a second, but let's start with this tortilla. Store-bought, very inexpensive and affordable. Flour tortilla. I put a little olive oil in a non-stick skillet.
You can use corn.
You can use corn oil, whatever, but I've used a very, very little amount. But what this is gonna do is start frying this, right? To create that crispy bottom, like almost tavern-style pizza crust that I love.
Oh, boy.
Next comes our tomatoes. Thinly sliced beefsteak tomatoes. We're gonna put a couple of those, and we're gonna build this in the hot pan.
No,
I got my broiler going.
Jeff.
This is not only cheap, but it's quick.
Is this like a slender Chicago-style pizza in the pan?
Well, no, this is like a tavern-style Chicago crust, thin crust pizza, the pizza that real Chicagoans eat. We eat the deep dish stuff once a year.
I want to know something. Is this one pizza for 4 people?
No, this recipe actually makes 4 pizzas.
Oh, that's
So this is just for me.
Beautiful.
You guys can all go have a granola bar
All right,
in the back.
I feel better now because I need that whole pizza to myself.
So I just added some caramelized onions. We did them low and slow on the stove top, right? We just don't disturb them, don't stir them too much, don't salt them, let those sugars develop. Next come the cheese.
What kind of cheese?
We got whole milk mozzarella from the block,
Oh,
which
I
is
like
more
that.
affordable, that we grated ourselves, no anti-caking agents, and we're going to the edge.
Oh, you're doing a
so
little Chicago.
all that cheese drips down and creates even more pleasurable, crispy, lacy, crackery cheese crust.
That's the best bite.
I love that.
And you could throw all that in there too.
Oh,
So
okay.
we just got some fresh tomatoes from the ends of the sliced tomatoes and some crispy bacon.
That's
Or
a
you could just
really
throw-
good save, the tomato scraps.
Exactly.
And
Put
this
it in your
feels like
salad.
a pizzeria salad. The
Yeah.
iceberg, it's what you get. You might even put it on your pizza.
And you need that creamy
Can I
dressing
dress
too.
this? Can I put a little?
Yeah, go ahead, dress it. That's just a good blue cheese dressing. And you can use spicy or sweet Italian sausage. This is a nice combo. I like the both. But again, 1 link is enough for 4 pizzas with this. Now it's going in the broiler.
Oh, boy.
Oh, wow.
All right, where it's gonna hit the top of that, make it all gooey. So I've had one broiling for a couple minutes in the bottom here. And since we started it in the pan, we got a crispy crust and perfectly bubbly golden brown top.
Beautiful.
With a pizza, because we use that nonstick, look at that. Slides right out. Do you see
Wow, that was so easy.
Beautiful.
Look at the bottom.
that?
Can you see the bottom?
Gorge.
that? Let me see
Get a
that.
shot of the bottom. That's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. You see that?
That is joyous.
That's because we
Oh,
started
yeah.
a little bit of oil in the bottom pan right there.
And that cheese.
And that cheese all the way around. You see the lacy
That's
edge of
that
that?
good stuff.
That's what the kids want these days, right? I don't know if they want omelets. All right. Katie, it is time, right? And this is an individual pizza for 1. So I'm gonna cut it in quarters.
By the way, you know what I might do with this? I might put the iceberg in the freezer and do an icy cold lettuce
Look at
salad.
you, I love it.
Oh, gosh.
Thank you again.
Nothing like
Hold my
brisket.
salad bowl.
This is a 1 portion for me. It's my truff salad.
The salad? Yeah.
This is, nobody's going hungry here at the dinner table tonight. And you get your veggies and your protein and your
beautiful.
calcium.
Jeff, what does this cost?
This, I don't know. We're about to find out. Let me plate you one, Sir Geoffrey.
I absolutely love the sausage on there. I love the textures. I love the juiciness of the iceberg. And then we go to the richness of the cheese. It's hot and cold. Sort of like a fancy French restaurant. A little chaud-froid, hot, cold thing going on.
And I'm gonna start with a super-sized slice of pizza. And I do mean super-sized. I'm gonna form the big slice right now, and I'm using my foolproof pizza dough. It never, ever fails me. Let me tell you how to make this. I got salt and flour into the mixer, turned it on low, poured in olive oil, and active dry yeast dissolved in warm water. Then, when everything was mixed, formed it into a ball in an olive oil smeared bowl, covered it with plastic wrap, let it rise for an hour, then stashed the dough in the fridge. This dough is the best, and it's so easy to shape into whatever shape you want. I'm literally forming it into the shape of a big slice of pizza. Emphasis on big. This is basically going to be a whole pizza. It's just not going to be round or oval like my pizzas usually are. It's in the shape of a pizza slice. Okay, I think that looks great. I'm totally convinced. I think the boys will be too. Okay, I'm gonna put the toppings on the pizza. This ought to be fun. I'll start with just jarred marinara sauce. How fun would it be to have a pizza party and make 3 or 4 different slices of pizza like this? Put different toppings on them. I think that would be such a fun idea. Now, I want to leave the sauce off of the end because it's supposed to look like the pizza crust, but I want to get it all the way to the edges because I want it to look like I basically cut a huge slice of pizza. Okay, that's enough sauce. So I'll put on a layer of mozzarella slices. Sometimes with pizza, fresh mozzarella can get a little bit watery, so I'm kind of sticking with the supermarket stuff. And you can just tear the pieces as you need to fit them on there. And then fontina comes next. Fontina on pizza is scrumptious. It is so flavorful and creamy. Now I've got some Romano cheese, and I'm not gonna sprinkle on too much. This is a little bit sharper and more flavorful than Parmesan. Since this is a supersized slice of pizza, say that fast 3 times, I'm gonna use supersized pepperoni. Okay, now this is a little bit risky, but I'm just gonna go for it anyway. I've got a little goat cheese. I'm not gonna put too much on. I'm just gonna find little places. I wanna have a taste of this pizza, and I happen to love goat cheese on pizza, so I think that's all the goat cheese I'm gonna use. Okay, it's gonna go into a 500-degree oven on the lowest rack for about 20 minutes, and I'll watch it to make sure the crust doesn't burn. Hey, boys. Would you like a slice of pizza?
It's like a big old single slice.
I know. So, Mason, this one's yours.
All right.
And I've got 4 more coming. Just kidding. Are you guys hungry?
Yes, hungrier than hungry.
I was watching you guys play out there. It was making me tired.
Except
Mason?
a lot of quarterback.
Oh, Mason took off. Bye, Mason.
Bye, guys.
I think he's ready to eat. Oh, gosh. There's just no time for conversation with you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Todd, you're going to wind up with a huge piece here. There you go, son. All right. Aw, thanks. I love those boys.